Morning. How are you?
I'm just hanging out in the Fairway Ford Studios. That is what I do.
Is that what they're called now? The Fairway Ford Studios?
During the 7:30 time slot, yeah.
Oh, okay.
8:30 will become something else.
I got you. Very cool. Very cool.
I mean, let's face it, Jordan. If there's money to be made,
Yeah,
we're all over it.
I hear you.
So there we go.
Absolutely.
Seven Waters Advisors. So, George, what's the big topic of the day?
Well, we touched on it last week, and let's say that you've had a lot of debt, and now you're kind of in a position where you're ready to knock out that debt, start investing in the future. Maybe you've got a better paying job, or you just realize, wait, I can't continue going this direction.
It's an amazing relief when you've been going uphill, seems like your entire life, and all of a sudden you get to a point where, it's what can I say? It's an amazing relief.
Right, when you get that debt paid off, right?
Yeah.
There is definitely some sort of victory feeling in that, a lot of celebration, and so, and that's definitely the thing. It's getting that. The Bible says the borrower is slave to the lender, and you really do feel like that, especially when you have a lot of debt, right?
They even knew that back then, huh?
They even knew that back then.
Wow. Okay.
I think Dave Ramsey wrote that part of the Bible. I'm just joking. No, that's in Proverbs, written by Solomon.
Bruce Williams.
Huh?
I'm going back older
than. But anyway, so the question then is raised: if I have debt and I want to start investing for my retirement, which one should I take care of first? Should I start investing first, or should I pay off my debt first? And so I just wanted to address that and kind of go over that with folks.
Okay. Is it like that? Is it one before the other, or does one complement the other?
That's a great question, and it really just depends on where you are, what your situation is. So I want to give you a few things to think about.
All right.
Number one, what kind of debt is it? Are we talking about cars and homes and things like that, where your interest rates are 3 to 7%? Well, it makes sense to go ahead and invest and continue paying off your debt on a regular schedule, because you should be able to make 7%, especially if you're younger, 7% on average. So you'll at least be leveraging that growth, and compounding interest over time is going to help you out, right? But what if you have credit card debt where you're talking about 15% or more? Now it's a different story. Now it's going to be really hard for you to consistently get a 15 to 30% return based off of wherever you are. So in that scenario, it may make sense for you to let's just hunker down and get these high interest debts paid down first. Okay.
Well, it's like I say, I got a credit card the other day where the APR was like 36%.
I know, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. And so that's now the caveat to that would be if you really are pretty young. If you're in your 20s, compounding interest has such a powerful effect over your long-term growth. A hybrid approach may make more sense for you. So if maybe you're paying a bit, let's say you have an extra $500 per month or an extra $1,000 per month. Well, split that in half. Put an extra $250 towards the paying extra on your credit cards, because at least you're paying down on the principal, and that lowers your overall interest rate. And start going ahead and investing. And another thing along with that lines, it doesn't matter how old you are. If your employer offers matching, you need to take full advantage of your matching. If you're not doing that, that needs to be your first goal. And the simple reason to it is that if they're saying, hey, you put in percentage, we're putting in a percentage, you're getting an immediate 100% return on your investment. So you're definitely making more on your investment than you are on your credit cards, than you're paying on your credit cards. Nonetheless, try to find some additional places in your budget to start paying down those credit cards, and don't just write the minimums.
What if, and I hate to look at it from this angle for you, but what if you're doing that, and so half of your money has gone to pay off your credit cards, so that money is gone, and your investments don't pan out. That money's gone.
Right.
That makes you feel pretty bad pretty quick, doesn't it?
Sure. So does that mean you shouldn't do it, or does that mean that you go, okay, I learned how not to invest today, right? So now, Thomas Edison.
Won't invest in that anymore.
Right, exactly. Thomas Edison has been quoted, now it's been misquoted that he talked about the light bulb because that's his most famous invention, but it was actually talking about a battery. He was trying to create a battery, and he was talking to a reporter, and the reporter was amazed by the fact that he went through 10,000 different prototypes before he actually found out how to make the battery. And the reporter said, how were you able to deal with 10,000 failures? And he goes, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways not to make a battery.
Yeah.
In other words, if you lose your money investing, well, then you've learned maybe your strategy wasn't the best strategy. But you did something that other people didn't do. You stepped out there and gave it a shot, right? Now, are there better, more reliable ways to see that you can get a return without risking all your money right off the bat? Sure. Put it into something like an index fund, an S&P 500. By the way, this is for educational purposes. This is not actual financial advice. Please speak to a financial professional before you make any financial decisions. But that being said, if you're young and you simply put your money in the S&P 500, you're going to see your money crash, and then you're going to see it recover. Then you're going to see it crash, and then you're going to see it recover. But over the span of your retirement, you're going to see it compound and grow and do very, very well. The same S&P 500 that lost 55% in 2008, 45% from 2000 to 2003, that lost 37% in 2022, is the same stock market that has also averaged about 10% per year, in spite of all those deep downs. So the ups and downs are just a part of it. Now, you will need to adjust your strategy the closer you get to retirement. So going to, hey, if I invest and I lose it, well, you're probably either trying to pick stocks, right? You think you got some hot tip from a buddy at the water cooler, something along those lines, and it doesn't really work out the way you expected. Okay, well, that may happen. So don't put all of your investment money into those things. Diversify. If you want to play the stock market, consider that more of an education. Like before you go to college, right? You're looking at spending tens of thousands of dollars, if not more than six figures for some people, on their education. And that's a pretty big risk to walk out into the world and maybe still wind up working at Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
So it's considered an education where you go, okay, for the first 5 years, if I really want to get into actively trading stocks myself, for the first 5 years, I don't plan on making a dime. That's not my goal. I don't plan on making a dime going to college. I don't plan on making a dime for the next 5 years on investing and trading in the stock market. But instead, I'm going to set aside a certain budget every month that I'm going to use to trade and learn how to invest my money. So I know that's a really roundabout answer, but I want to come back to your original question. What happens if I spend that money on that credit card and it's gone? It never comes back. Well, it doesn't come back, but you're also whittling away at something that is really costing you way more. If you walked into the door and somebody said, "Oh, just because you are who you are, I'm going to charge you 33% more," you'd be like, "No, there's no way I'm doing that." But that's literally what you're doing with the credit card debt. But on the investment side, invest in a way that you don't lose money altogether. Your stocks may go down in an index fund or something along those lines. If it's a good index fund, you just hold out. And I'm not saying it'll always come, that you can guarantee in the future that it will come back, but historically it always has. And that's the only thing you can rely on. If the S&P 500 crashes to the point where it never comes back, we've got more problems than just what my retirement investment strategy is going to look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you got to be willing to lose a little bit, but budget it in such a way where it doesn't hurt you today, right? Budget it in such a way that you can make investments that grow over time. But the most important thing about investing is if you just can't handle the loss, which is understandable, there are other tools out there where they're protected from any kind of loss and they can grow over time. Okay, you can put it in a bank. No, it's not really going to grow in a bank, but at least it's safe, right? So at least you're putting money back to the side.
Sure.
And the people that do the best that I deal with, when people are like, I'm ready to retire, there's only one consistent strategy that has worked for every single person that's ready to retire and has enough money to do so.
All of them?
Every single one of them. They all,
100%.
100% of the time.
Okay, what is it?
They just save money.
Okay.
Whether they put their money in a retirement account and just let it sit in cash, or whether they put it in the stock market,
A porcelain piggy bank in the back room?
or a porcelain piggy bank in the back room,
Yeah.
right? They saved. Now, the people that were just putting it in a porcelain piggy bank had to save a lot more than the people who put it in the stock market. But the singular difference between the people that I see that are ready to retire and they're not is that at least they did something with it. But are there safe ways? Yes, there are things like CDs and annuities that they're not going to perform the same way a stock market will, but they give you that peace of mind. My personal opinion, things like CDs and annuities are good for people that are a little bit older, younger people. Generally, it makes more sense for you to invest a significant portion of your investments into just a simple index fund, not mutual funds, Mutual funds cost you way too much money. They do not perform as good as a basic index fund that's less than 0.5%. Again, this is for educational purposes. I'm not making any specific recommendations. But
Look, we have folks out there that are taking notes, George.
I know they're taking notes. You're welcome to take notes. You're not welcome to blame me for your decisions because you need to speak to your own financial professional or advisor. Or if you'd like to talk to somebody, one of my team at Seven Waters, or talk to me, you're welcome to do so at that point.
And how do they do that?
SevenWatersAdvisors.com, 903-730-6688. Or again, you just go to SevenWatersAdvisors.com, request an appointment, or you give us a call at 903-730-6688. But for the young person, you're going to put that money in something like an index fund. If you're in a 401k, try to look for the ones that are the ETFs, ones with lower fees that are based on the index funds. Again, and then as far as the, there is one other side to it though. You have, if you're 25, 30 years old and you have a family, or even if you don't have a family yet, one day you want to have a family, you need to go ahead and consider some sort of a life insurance that covers a few bases, right? You want to make sure it covers you, obviously, for a death benefit. You want to do something that covers you for terminal illness so that if, God forbid, something were to happen to you, these life insurances will actually pay you out tax-free money that you can use to pay for your bills. It comes out of your death benefit, yes, but now instead of my father at the age of 50 years old just collapsed and became an invalid. He had Lou Gehrig's disease. It had been developing over time. Nobody knew what it was. He lost his ability to speak well. His motor skills went down, but then all of a sudden he crashed. And for the next 2 years, he stayed in a bed, went bankrupt, lost his home, lost everything because there was nothing to cover him for that situation. And so because of that, even though my father made good money, we had a nice home, all that went away. When I went to college, I couldn't even afford an air conditioner unit in my apartment. So I sat laying underneath the box fan, begging God for a breeze, you know? And so my mom had to figure out how to do life with having no money, really, and having a ruined credit score and all those things. So you want to have some protections while you're building to your retirement. And so also we can help with those. So that's why we call ourselves Seven Waters. We really try to set you up with all the tools that you need so they work together comprehensively so you can meet these goals.
Very good.
Sunday morning, we will be talking about what are some of the largest budgeting mistakes that people make in their early retirement.
Okay. And that will be at 8:30, right?
So, yep, Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. And of course, well, as always, we'll elaborate on it on next Friday.
Very good. George McFarland, Seven Waters Advisors, every Friday morning right here and Sunday morning at 8:30. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, we got one, Mark.
7:47 here this morning.